My name is Jace, and today I'll be showing you how to make your own custom box that's not found in the library. So sometimes your customers will have boxes that just aren't in our library and they want you to make something that maybe you need to resize on the fly. So let's get this started. I want to make one of those do not stack pyramids, but I want it 3-sided instead of 4-sided, and I know for sure that's not in our library. So I'm going to name this do not stack. And I'm just going to use E-flute white, just a nice corrugated white board. And we're going to be using our synergy component. So in the bottom right corner, you press this little arrow and it pulls out this menu. And we're going to drop down into the synergy components and go to our bases, because every good box starts with a base. Now I'm going to drag this triangle out, click and drag. And I want it even, so I'm going to adjust this angle that's in here, because you can see the values in this box that you want to adjust before you apply and press OK. So now that I have the base going, I'm going to add 2 more triangle flaps. So we're going to go into the individual components, and this is a pretty big menu, but once you start getting used to where things are and what your customers most commonly need, you'll be able to find everything in a flash like me. So I'm going to adjust these angles again, press OK. And now it's even with the other triangle. And now that I've adjusted this component, watch what happens when I pull this out. It's going to be the same size. So what I'm doing here also is I'm waiting for this blue circle to highlight, to click and drag and make it even. So I'm going to press OK. And now I've just gotten the base of the box. So, all right. And now I can actually take this out in 3D, and I'll just press this 3D button up here, and it shows me, whoo, I've started my box. And when I press play, the automatic setting is to put it at 90 degrees. So we'll fix that later. But you can already see that we're starting to get this box together. I'll go back to my drawing, and with these do not stack boxes, they have these little flaps that keep it down, that you can either tape those down, or there's little holes in between to put your straps through. So I'm going to go back, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the flaps, and I'm going to use actually these glue flaps. So I'm going to start with the glue flap, because basically you can adjust any shape in this parametric library to what you might need. So even though it's not the perfect shape from what your customer has sent you, you can adjust things to make it yours. And all right, and so that is those glue flaps, and we'll go over to the parameters, and I want to make the angle, instead of 75, I want to make it 50 on either side. So reason why I knew to use that one is because when you click on the glue tab, it will show you which are attached to this. So that is the next angle, and we'll adjust that also to 50. All right, cool. So we'll go back to the synergy components, and we're going to get some holes, because we want to make the hole, or cuts actually. Should be the hanging cuts. One of these in here. Oh. Okay, perfect. So these are the display box cuts. And as you can see, there's a few options, but if you look at the parentheses, there's a centered and an offset button. So with the triangle that I'm making, I want to be able to have 2 holes on one side and then 1 hole centered on the other 2 sides, because I want the straps to go through perpendicular. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this first centered one, and I'm going to grab the inner one here and here, and I can I'll just press OK for now, and I can still adjust that later. And so the hole is going to push through the other way. And the nice part is if you don't know which direction your added component is facing, you can just hover over a different corner. I'm just kind of choosing which corners I want, and that gets fixed. So I'm going to do it this way, press OK, and I'm going to adjust these here. So we want them to be a little bit smaller. So we'll say about 1 inch. And what's this one? Oh, that's the angle. Don't really need the angle. We'll go 0.5. Not what I need. 0.25. 0.5. Okay, perfect. That leaves just a little bit of space for us to put our flaps through. I'm going to go back to my synergy components, and now I'm going to use the offset. So what's cool is the ones right next to it is the same component as before. So I adjusted those in my parameters, and it's automatically adjusting this. But so I'm going to grab this corner and this corner, so then it's going to be offset. If you don't want these to be all the same size, you can uncheck these boxes here, and it won't make them the same parameters. So I'm going to press OK because I do want them to be the same. And now when you see I select over here, it's the wrong way. And I want it to be facing this way like this, but I want it to be on this side. So just an easy fix. I'm going to mirror it, and it's already in spot. So this works. Also, there's a horizontal mirror as well if you needed to put it the other way for your custom box. But perfect. So this is what I've got so far. And I just realized, hey, I need this to be a lot bigger because the triangle here is only 4 inches. And I need that to be 8. So I press 8, already adjusts everything, but I'm going to adjust these little holes to be a little bit bigger. So I'm actually going to go 1 inch by 2. It's really big, so we'll go 0.5 by 1. All right, perfect. Maybe we'll take these little glue flaps out a little bit. And creating box, it's always reworking what you're already working on, but this makes it so much easier to resize your box, because that only took me like 20 seconds to fix. So I'm going to add one more glue flap, and I want it to be the same size because this is where I want the box to close on itself. And press OK. Perfect. Now we're going to go fix the 3D drawing. So I have the 3D drawing, and it has all my new parts, but they're not folding. So I can see in the top right over here is my animation sequence, and it has only 2 panels that's going to fold because the base will always stay in the same spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to select these 2 panels, and I want them to fold in a little bit more. So you can either fold one at a time, but since I want these to be evenly folded, I'm going to move them at the same time. All right. And I think, yeah, that looks about right. Perfect. And then we'll take this glue flap, and since it's only showing it as idle, so I'm going to make it fold. And it's also going to fold there. But I also want to make sure it's close. So I'm going to send this transparent, and okay, make that closer to the wall. Perfect. And then I'll set those back to solid. And our final flaps, I believe they're going to go backwards. So, because I want them to go in like that. Oh, accidentally grabbed that one. So we're going to put that one back in. Accidentally had that one selected. But yeah, perfect. This looks like our nice little cone. We have our holes. And I will save this so we can open it in Adobe. So do not stack, save. I'll go right over to Adobe. I'm going to open my file and do not stack. Perfect. So now we have the die line opened up in Adobe, and I can see in EngView's little box down here, the 3D drawing. And I already made up some graphics for this, so I'm just gonna grab that out of my library. And this cute little do not stack information. And as you can see over here, it's already putting the information on here. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and it turns out that my artwork was not scaled correctly, so I had to go do it myself, and that's kind of why I jumped out for a second. But I'm back, and so I got this do not stack all on it, and now that it's refreshed, it's in my bottom right corner, and I think it looks ready to go. So I can also open this back up into EngView if I wanted to kind of see the graphics all on it. And all right, looks great. Don't need to adjust anything, but if I need to adjust, I can go back to the drawing and adjust my parameters and go back to Adobe. So we're gonna go back to Adobe. And I want to end up sending this to my customer. So I'm going to go over here to this shared space button right here. And it's going to open up the shared space. And I'm going to name this model demo video do not stack. And I can upload this as a new 3D model. Press this big cloud button in the bottom left. And it will upload that to the shared space server, and I can send that link to my customer. So yeah, that's how you create a custom box using the Synergy parametric components, and have a good one.